Hello YouTube, this is Richard of GK's Apprentice coming at you again with a new video. This is going to be a duel video, and I'm sorry it's not a live duel, but all I could manage for this week was a Duel Network duel. So I hope you enjoy this duel. It's going to be Gravekeepers against Crystal Beasts. So without further ado, let's get into it. So give me a break this time because this is my first duel commentary, and as you can see, my opponent won the right to go first, so he's going to go first in this duel. It's going to be Gravekeepers against Crystal Beasts. So as you can see, I only drew into one monster. I got my Fiendish Chain, my Compulse, and my Black Horn of Heaven on standby. He normal summons a Summoner Monk, uses his effect to discard a spell card and special summon from his deck. It's at this point that I realize I'm playing Crystal Beasts, and he sets a spell card and puts a monster in his spell zone, and then I will take my turn. I draw in the magical dimension, which is everything I wanted right now. So as you can see, I'm going to set my traps, and I always try to strategically set my traps for the ones I want to use. Then I'm going to normal summon my Recruiter in a set formation, and then I am going to end my turn. So he takes his turn. He Dark Holes, and that's pretty much all I could ask for at this point, because he's going to activate my Recruiter's effect and send his monster to the spell zone. He's going to lose his Summoner Monk, and I'm going to use my Recruiter's effect. With the Recruiter's effect, I'm adding to my hand a Heretic because I already have a Necro Valley on hand. He tries to use the effect of his Crystal Beast, but I Fiendish Chain it. And he plays a magic card, which lets him special summon a Crystal Beast from his deck. And he summons a monster who he's going to use his effect to special summon from his spell and trap zone, which he does. And he is going to continue using effects to set monsters in his spell and trap zone, before finally trying to overlay for a Lightning Chidori, which I use my Black Horn of Heaven to negate. Then he tries to overlay for a Leviathan, and I compulse that. In my turn, I will activate my Necro Valley, and because he has no monsters, I'm going to set my Magical Dimension and play my Assailant, to which he will Torrential Tribute it. I let that happen, and I will end my turn. Special summons a monster that plays with 1600 and adds 1400 via effect. Or not, I'm sorry, that's wrong. It's my first time, guys, give me a break. So he plays another Summoner Monk, to which I will use my Rite of Spirit to summon my Assailant back to the field. He lets that happen. He's going to use his Monk's effect, to which I also let happen. And at this point, he's going to try to use his effect of his monster. I had to read the cards. I let him resolve the effect. And so at this point, he's going to attack into my Assailant. At which point, I will go ahead and I will activate my Magical Dimension on Battle Declaration, targeting my Assailant to Tribute. He lets that resolve, and I will go ahead and I will Tribute my Assailant and special summon my Heretic from hand, destroying his Temple Tiger, or whatever the hell that's called. And I will go ahead and wait to see what he does next, at which point I believe he would activate an Exciton. He doesn't. I don't know why. Instead, he goes into a Diamond Direwolf and targets my Necro Valley for destruction. giving up every monster he has on the field, leaving me with an 1800 beater. I'll go ahead and set my spy and swing for the 18. And end my turn. He draws and ends. I draw into a bottomless and then flip summon my spy to resolve her effect. Resolving her effect, I'm going to go ahead and special summon to the field a recruiter. For some reason, I choose the one closer to the top of the deck, and then I'll swing for full damage. Which is going to be 42 all day. And I'll end my turn with that attack. At which point he's going to attempt to summon, and I respond with my bottomless. Sending his monster to the spell trap zone, he goes ahead and scoops for my win in game 1. Siding in, I'm going to opt to side in a Royal Tribute, a Malefic Cyber End, and a Skill Drain. Opting out of one Stela, one Gravekeeper's Visionary, and my Starlight Road. And he is going to opt to go first in game number 2. In game number 2, he's going to open. And he's going to open by normal summoning into a Sapphire Pegasus and bringing to the Spell and Trap Zone 1 Crystal Beast monster before ending his turn. I have what appears to be a fairly strong hand, and with that, I take a look at my options, deciding to go ahead and normal summon into my Recruiter. I activate my Commandant's effect to pull a Necro Valley from my deck. I'll go ahead and activate Necro Valley first turn, which is something I usually don't like to do unless I absolutely have to, or set up the condition for activating Imperial Tombs during my opponent's turn. I target his monster with my Magical Dimension. That is to say, I target my own Recruiter with Magical Dimension, which he assumes I'm going to destroy his monster. I give up a little bit of advice to him, saying that it's my option to destroy. He gets a little upset, calls me a couple names before finally I resolve the effect. And during the effect resolution, I am indeed going to target his monster for destruction. However, it is not a mandatory effect to destroy. It's totally optional. So I'm going to special summon my Recruiter, activating my Tributed Recruiter's effect, and pulling from my deck one Gravekeeper's Commandant before I swing for 17 and end my turn. He normal summons another Sapphire Pegasus, to which I respond with a Fiendish Chain. He uses the magic card Rare Value. That makes me go ahead and target one of his Spell or Trap Zone monsters to send to the graveyard. He gets to draw 2 cards, and then he ends his turn with that. I draw into a Book of Moon, to which I will think about for a second before setting my Gravekeeper Spy and setting the Book of Moon and ending my turn. He normal summons a Summoner Monk, to which I have I will respond by activating my Book of Moon and setting his Summoner Monk so he cannot activate his Summoner Monk's effect, to which he will respond by ending his turn. I draw into a Gravekeeper's Assailant, and I will go ahead and flip summon my Spy for her effect. that's going to resolve, I search my deck and opt to special summon a Gravekeeper's Descendant in attack mode. I'm going to use my Descendant's effect to tribute my Recruiter and target his face-down Summoner Monk for destruction. Activating my Recruiter's effect, and I will search my deck for a Gravekeeper's Heretic to add to my hand before I attack, or after I normal summon my Heretic, I'll attack his Pegasus with my 2000 attack Descendant, sending it to the spell trap zone and attacking for 18 and 17, at which point I need to express to him that my Heretic is only at 1800 because he is unaffected by all cards, including Necro Valley. So he's going to go ahead and gain 500 life points back before I end my turn. He's going to play his field spell, destroying my Necro Valley, and then he will use a Crystal Beacon, which will allow him to special summon monsters from his spell and trap zone. He uses both of those effects to add more monsters to his spell and trap zone. I need to read some of these effects, so I ask him to pause while I read these cards. Realizing I can't do anything, I tell him to continue. He looks into his extra deck before activating a rare value, which was going to have me target one of his spell and trap cards, to send to the graveyard so he can draw 2 more cards, bringing his hand up to 6, and he's going to play a Crystal Blessing, adding more monsters to his spell and trap card zone. Then he's going to battle me to destroy most of my monsters. To which I take the damage and lose everything. To which he activates his field spells effect to draw a card and set a trap card before ending his turn. Which, when on my turn, I will go ahead and activate my Commandant's effect to search my deck for another Necro Valley, adding that to my hand, and I'm going to immediately activate. At which point, I will attempt to normal summon my Gravekeeper's Assailant. To which he will use a trap card that tributes a monster from his side of the field to send one of my monsters back to the deck. And at this point, I realize that I'm in a lot of trouble, and I go ahead and end my turn to see what he's going to do. He normal summons, he battles me, I take the direct damage before he sets a monster, and I continue. I attempt to normal summon my Commandant and equip it with a Wonder Wand. And as I attack into his monster, I get responded to with a Dimensional Prison, at which point I realize at 3,400 points that I have no chance, and I go ahead and scoop and bring us into game 3, to which I will side in. A second skill drain, and I go ahead and go first for game 3. Drawing into a very strong hand, including Wiretap and Magical Dimension and Book of Moon. I set all of those. And then I'll go ahead and activate my Necro Valley because I have a Commandant on hand, and normal summon my Recruiter before ending my turn. On my opponent's turn, he normal summons a Sapphire Pegasus of the Crystal Beast variety. He will go ahead and attempt to use his effect, at which point I will activate my Magical Dimension. on his attack declaration and target my recruiter for tribute. He has to let this happen. I special summon my Commandant, and his Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus is sent to the spell and trap zone. Whereas my recruiter's effect will activate, I'll search my deck for another Commandant. He sets a spell or trap and ends his turn. I start my turn by drawing into a Gravekeeper Stela, and I go ahead and activate my Commandant's effect, drawing a Necro Valley from my deck. Thereupon, I activate my Gravekeeper Stela, recovering my dead recruiter and my Commandant from my graveyard. And then normal summon my recruiter, to which he uses a torrential tribute, which I respond to with a wiretap, negating its effect, sending it back to the deck. And I will attack for 3,800 direct points, which he takes, before I end my turn. He's going to use a rare value, and I target his middle card to send to the grave, so he can normal summon a Crystal Beast Temple Tiger, attacking my Gravekeeper's recruiter, which I respond to with a Book of Moon, and he sets one trap before ending his turn. Drawing into Gravekeeper Spy, I'm going to set my Spy, and knowing his defense, I go ahead and attack into his face-down monster, sending it to his spell or trap zone, and attacking for a further 1,700 direct before ending my turn. He draws. He activates another rare value, and I choose his Tiger to send to the grave. He gets to draw 2 cards, with which he goes into a Summoner Monk. And at this point, I would expect an Exciton Knight, because an Exciton Knight would have saved him. However, he did not go into the Exciton, and instead decides to end his turn. On my turn, he activates yet another card that sends one to the sends one of his cards to the graveyard, but he can send it to the spell trap zone. He sends one of my cards to the deck, and that doesn't really matter because at this point I'm just going to normal summon my Commandant and attack for game, to which he realizes that I win. And that's going to do it for this duel, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize that it wasn't a live duel. I will work hard to get footage of a live duel from my locals online soon. Hopefully it's one that I'm going to win. And if you did like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts, tips, suggestions, or criticisms on my dueling style, please go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel for weekly deck profiles for the Gravekeeper's archetype, as well as discussion and strategy videos for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game in general. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please view my videos more often. Good luck dueling this week, guys, and do not stop. This is Richard of GK's Apprentice, signing out.